You're still paying for a decision you made years ago. Not with money, with sleep, with that hollow feeling at 2 in the morning when the house is silent and your mind starts playing the same scene again. The thing you should have said, the chance you let walk out the door, the person you could have become if you had only been braver. Everyone tells you to let it go, but nobody tells you how. And here is the question that should keep you here until the very end of this. What if the reason regret keeps winning is that you have been fighting it the wrong way your entire life? Rome, the year 49 before Christ. A man sits alone in a room, and the world outside is ending. His name is Marcus Porcius Cato. History would remember him as Cato the Younger. Right now, at this moment, everything he has built his life around is collapsing. Julius Caesar has crossed the Rubicon. The republic that Cato loved more than his own life is dying, and Cato knows it. He had warned them. For years, he stood in the Senate and warned them all what Caesar would become. They laughed. They called him rigid. They called him a relic. And now, as Caesar's legions march toward the city, every one of those warnings has come true. Here is a man with every right to drown in regret. Think of what he could have told himself. If only I had spoken louder. If only I had made a different alliance. If only I had bent just once, just a little. Any ordinary mind would have shattered under the weight of it. But Cato did not shatter. And the reason why is a mental code so ruthless, so precise, that men have studied it for 2,000 years because Cato had trained for this exact moment his entire life. He had built a machine inside his own mind that regret could not touch. And the first gear of that machine begins with a single brutal question that most people are too afraid to ask themselves. To understand what Cato did, you have to understand what he refused to do. From the time he was a boy, Cato was different in a way that unsettled people. As a child, he was taken to see a Roman leader, and when the man's cruelty was on display, young Cato reportedly asked for a sword to end the tyrant himself. He was a child. That was the raw material, but raw intensity is not what saved him. Discipline is. Cato spent his adult years deliberately hardening himself against comfort. He walked bareheaded in the burning sun and the freezing rain. He wore dark, plain clothing when everyone around him competed in silk. He practiced going without, on purpose, when he had every means to have everything. People thought he was performing. He was not performing. He was training. Because Cato understood something that almost no one around him grasped. He understood that regret is not really about the past. Regret is about control. It is the mind desperately trying to rewrite a story that has already been written. And every hour you spend rewriting a story that cannot change is an hour stolen from the only story you can still author, which is the one happening right now. So Cato built his first principle, and it was this: separate what was yours to control from what was never yours at all. When the Senate ignored his warnings, Cato did not lie awake asking whether he could have saved Rome. He asked one question only: did I act with everything that was mine to give? And if the answer was yes, the matter was closed, sealed, finished. The outcome belonged to fate, to Caesar, to the gods, to 1,000 forces beyond one man's reach. But the effort had been his, and that was enough. Now stop, because you have felt the exact opposite of this, and you know it. Think of the last time regret grabbed you by the throat, the message you never sent, the job you were too scared to leave, or the one you left too soon, the relationship you watched slip away while you stood there frozen. When you replay it, notice what your mind actually does. It does not replay the parts you controlled. It obsesses over the outcome you never held in your hands at all. You torture yourself over how it ended, as if the ending was ever fully yours to write. This is the trap. This is the machine running in reverse, grinding you down. And Cato found the first way out, but knowing the first step was not enough to save him from what was coming, because the hardest test of his life was still ahead, and it would demand something far more difficult than a clear mind. The Republic fell, Caesar won, and Cato, along with the last free defenders of Rome, retreated to North Africa, to a city called Utica, for a final stand. The battle came, and it was lost. Cato's side was crushed. Now picture his situation with total honesty. His life's work is in ruins. The man he spent decades opposing is now the master of the entire Roman world. Every prediction he made has come true in the worst possible way. If regret were ever going to win, it would win here. This is the moment, the complete and total defeat of everything you stand for. And here is where Cato reveals his second principle, and it is stranger and harder than the first. Cato refused to let the outcome define whether his choices had been right. Read that again slowly. He decided in advance that being defeated by Caesar did not make opposing Caesar a mistake. The world would remember him as the man who lost. But Cato measured himself by a different ruler entirely, not by whether he won, but by whether he had been who he swore he would be. This is the second gear of the machine. Detach the worth of your decision from the result it produced, because a good decision made with courage and clear judgment is still a good decision, even when the world burns it to the ground. And a coward's choice is still a coward's choice, even if by pure luck it happens to work out. Most people have this exactly backwards. They judge every past decision by how it turned out, which means they are at the mercy of forces they never controlled. Cato judged his decisions by the only thing that was ever truly his: the intention, the effort, the character behind the act. And now the pivot to you, because this is where it cuts deep. How many of your regrets are not actually about a bad decision at all? How many are simply about a decision that did not work out? You took the risk and it failed, so now you call it a mistake. But it was not a mistake. It was courage that met an unlucky world. You loved someone fully and they left, so now you tell yourself you were a fool. But you were not a fool. You were brave, and bravery does not come with a guarantee. When you let the outcome be the judge of your character, you teach yourself one poisonous lesson. You teach yourself never to risk anything again. And that is how regret does its deepest damage. It does not just haunt your past, it quietly strangles your future, one avoided risk at a time. On his final night, Cato did something that tells us everything. He sat and he read. Specifically, he read a work about the immortality of the soul, calmly, as though it were any other evening. His friends had hidden his sword, terrified of what he might do. He noticed. And here is the third principle, the one that completes the machine, and the one modern psychology has only recently caught up to. Cato accepted the full reality of his situation without flinching, and then he acted from his values instead of from his fear. He did not deny what had happened. He did not pretend the Republic could be saved. He looked directly at the truth, however brutal, and asked only one thing: given exactly this reality, what does the person I want to be do next? Modern researchers have a name for something close to this. They call it acceptance and commitment. After study now shows that the people who suffer least are not the ones who avoid painful thoughts, but the ones who accept the painful reality fully and then commit to action guided by their values anyway. Fighting the thought feeds it. Running from the regret makes it chase you harder, but turning around, facing it completely, and then choosing your next action based on who you want to become, that is what finally drains its power. Cato did this 2,000 years before there was a laboratory to prove it. He faced the end of his world with a clear mind and a steady hand, and he met it entirely on his own terms. So here is the answer to the question we opened with. The reason regret keeps winning is that you have been treating it as something to escape, when it is actually something to process. And Cato hands you the exact 3 steps to do it. Tonight, take the regret that has been following you. Do not push it away. Write it down. Then step 1, separate it. Ask what part of this was actually mine to control and what part belonged to forces I never held. Be honest. You will find the controllable part is far smaller than your guilt has been telling you. Step 2, judge the decision by your intention, not the outcome. Ask, given what I knew and who I was, did I act with courage and good faith? If yes, then you did not fail. The world simply did what the world does. Step 3, accept it completely, and then ask Cato's final question. Given this exact reality, the one I cannot change, what does the person I want to become do next? Then do that one thing. Small is fine, but do it. Regret is a debt collector for a life you never actually owed. Cato knew that the past is finished, the outcome was never fully yours, and the only real power you have ever held is what you choose to do in the very next moment. That moment is available to you right now, and it is available again in the moment after that for the rest of your life. If this reached something in you, Stay a while, subscribe, and let the next reflection find you when you need it most.